Hi there, it's Karen, and I'm freezing cold in Los Angeles. That should evoke some emotion from some people up in the north. But just so you know, I have shoveled snow for many years, so I know what you're going through. And I know what happens this time of year in Canada. We've just watched all the beautiful leaves come off the tree, and oh, isn't it gorgeous, and it smells really good, and there's a freshness in the air. And then it starts to get that kind of cold rain, not the cold rain that falls on you, but the cold rain that kind of goes through you, and then the wind comes with it, and you get that chill you can't get rid of. And then soon after, the snow comes, and the snow goes on top of the leaves that you haven't cleaned out yet, because it was too rainy and too wet. And so it makes this mixture of snow and leaves, and then you go to try to shovel that, and it's just this dirt on either side of your driveway. It looks awful, and it's gross. And then just more snow starts piling up from there. And unless you get a good crisp snow, it still feels that wet cold. So yes, I do understand what cold is. But because I've been in Los Angeles long enough now, if it is cold, then I really feel it. So probably time to go back to the north and feel some real cold, gain some perspective. I have a blog today I want to share with you called Do You Lack Motivation? And it came from someone this morning who emailed me. And I won't use her name, and I never use names on here unless you guys specifically request that I use your name openly and discuss all your problems with complete strangers. I won't use your name. If you want to pipe up in the blog area and say, oh, that's me, that was me, and then be prepared to have so much love thrown your way you won't know what to do with it all because of our community being so awesome. If you want to do that, that's cool. But I'll read you the email that she sent me. And then I'll read you the response that I gave afterwards. The email read, I kind of hoped you might be able to help me. There are so many things I would like to do, but I always feel like I lack motivation. I'm not very independent. I tend to rely on others a lot, and I hate doing anything alone. I always feel as though I have millions of eyes on me at all times, and it makes me uncomfortable. I've always tried to fade into the background my whole life, and I hate any kind of attention. I'm not very confident around people, and around people I don't know. I get uncomfortable being left in a room with my fiance's dad. I never know what to say. I met my fiance online, so I found it easy to speak openly as we weren't face to face, and then by the time we actually met, I already knew so much about him there weren't any reasons to be awkward around him. Although I was really scared to kiss him. I think he visited me twice before I actually kissed him. And then when it happened, I wasn't expecting it. I didn't have time to back out. I thought that was so funny. It's just, yeah, didn't require motivation. You were just, thrown into the fire, I suppose. I really want to get out of this frame of mind and find the determination to follow my dreams. I really don't know where to start, though. It's a very common email, so hopefully you don't feel alone in all of this. This is something I think a lot of people can relate to. Certainly I have in my own life as well. I wouldn't consider myself a Dear Abby. I have no psychological background unless having to deal with psychotic stalkers and stuff is its own degree. But I felt like she was emailing me as a friend. So I won't act like I have all the answers. I'm not qualified to be a therapist or anything, but I just wanted to answer this from my own experience. And if any of you out there want to chime in with all your love and and life experience, that's awesome. I'd welcome those responses and your thoughts too. I wish there was an answer for this, just a straight answer I could give, or a pill you could take that would just make that all better. Because how do you make somebody motivated who just isn't? I tried to look back at times in my life where I wasn't motivated and looked at what was stopping me. For the most part, I determined that I didn't actually lack motivation. Rather, something or someone was putting up a barrier. Forever and a day, I thought I was missing something. I started looking into what was inhibiting me. The question, why bother? And this is something for a lot of you guys that have been in the blog community for a while. Know that I've covered this topic extensively because it's kind of at the root of a lot of depression. It's something I've covered extensively, but I want to bring it up here again. Why bother is the question we ask ourselves in trying to determine if something is worth it to us. So when our friend here says, there are so many things I'd like to do, but I always feel I lack the motivation, I tend to think why bother is probably lurking somewhere in the background. If we feel like there's no point in doing something, or nothing good can come from our actions, if we actually felt like there was a point, or something good can come from it, we'd be at least somewhat motivated to do it. It does beg the question again, though, do you think your life is worthless? Her next sentence, I'm not very independent, I tend to rely on others a lot, and I hate doing anything alone, I always feel like I have millions of eyes on me at all times, and it makes me uncomfortable. Now, while that seems like an oxymoron, I totally understand where she's coming from. It's the struggle between not wanting to be isolated by not wanting anyone watching you either. It's the state of being dependent on others. I went through this for a very long time. Only people who have been through it will understand what she's getting at. Basically, you count on others to take care of you, but you become so independent on them. Or sorry, you become so dependent on them. It would be great if you could become independent from these problems. You become so dependent from them that you stay in the world they want you, which is convenient for them. A person who truly loves you will encourage your independence. If they don't, they like keeping you close. It's kind of a form of control. This is also why when they are watching you, you are uncomfortable. Now, discomfort can come from a lack of self-esteem, but I tend to think she's not being encouraged by anyone to seek out her independence. I could be way off base, but it just seems very familiar to me. She says, I'm not very confident around people I don't know. She says, I think there might be a handful of people out there who actually... Oh, sorry, this is one of the comments she left in her email to me, where she said, I'm not very confident around people I don't know. And then I responded by saying, I think there might be a handful of people out there who actually feel comfortable or perfectly fine around strangers. Because for the most part, it's our instincts which keep us protected when we meet anyone new. We'd rather say nothing than screw it up, you know. We've maybe become bullied and made fun of in the past, so then we just clam up. I mean, this has happened to me where I kind of looked at my past and I thought I was bullied a lot, especially, you know, on the literal playground, back in public school and everything, bullied a lot. So you just tend to say nothing, or you clam up. You don't do anything. And so when you meet new people, you've already got that kind of mode that you're in, so you don't really, you don't offer up anything, any new information that could cause a problem. So I think when she cited her fiance's father, I'm thinking part of the discomfort is a good thing because it means she doesn't want to screw it up, and that means she has some value on their relationship. So there's a really nice little glimmer there. I think that she values the situation and wants it to go well. So that's good. That's kind of a good thing. Overall, I think computers are great, and they're awesome for people who want to come out of their shells, but we really don't integrate with humans anymore. I mean, it's part of why I'm doing these video blogs as well, because I'm kind of longing for a little bit more of a human integration on things. And I know on the Public Record, the site where we built a community song from scratch, I'm seeing videos from people in their own home studios, and I really dig that because it feels like there's a little bit more interaction, at least past the typing thing, you know. It's kind of a new skill that we have to acquire again, though. As I mentioned in a recent blog, I tend to ask more questions, like when I'm interviewing someone, until I find some common ground. So, for instance, I might say, hey, have you always lived in Los Angeles, or did you move here from somewhere else? That usually works pretty well. Pretty much everyone is from somewhere else, and you can usually find some common ground, especially since I come down here. If I can find somebody from the East Coast, or find somebody from Canada, or, you know, just somewhere else, you usually have some kind of common stories to tell. So that's really good. When I used to try and start a conversation by just talking, you just start going off about yourself, just like, when I grew up and I was here and I did that, and you just go off, you end up in that place where you've put too much pressure on yourself to carry the whole conversation. So, especially if the other person doesn't talk much, then you just do what I'm doing right now and just blither on and on. So asking questions is a good thing. It shows you're interested in someone, and it takes the pressure off of you to perform. But I did notice two things that she put in her email. There's two sentences. One, she said, there's so many things I'd like to do. And the other thing she said, I really want to get out of this frame of mind and find the determination to follow my dreams. I really don't know where to start, though. I could do an entire blog on following dreams. I think the phrase, which it's been ground in our head for so long now, I think sometimes can do more harm than good. I don't mean follow your dreams has done nothing for people. The term follow your dreams has done nothing. It's loaded with complications. I would rather people find the things that they love to do instead of chasing something, instead of being determined to follow dreams. I think maybe a better frame of mind might be to simply immerse ourselves in the things we love to do. Much like when I said in that James Barr interview that I covered, the name of the blog was Do You Feel Like You're the Black Sheep? And in the interview, you know, James just simply lived life and did what he wanted to do. He didn't say, oh, I'm gonna go follow my dreams, or that's it, I'm making a move, or it was nothing big like that. It was just integrated into part of his life until he had something that he felt good about, and it was also cathartic and made him, you know, feel better about the situation and everything. So life doesn't have to take that elbow joint turn. If we want to enjoy every single moment, I don't think we can base everything we do on having that elbow joint turn. It's sometimes we need to just look at the moments that are kind of in between, you know, Friday nights. Like, just what happens at 10:31 on a Tuesday morning, or 3:30 on a Wednesday. Like, those are still our parts of our lives, and those are still our moments. They're not the most glamorous parts of our lives, but they indeed are our moments. And I think every moment counts, no matter what we're doing in our life. So my suggestion is that if you love to sing, you should sing. If you love to paint, you should paint. You know, it's like the Pablo Picasso quote that I have written all over my website. It's just like, if you feel like there's a voice inside you saying you cannot paint, paint, and the voice will be silenced. It's just taking that action. It's like, if you love to do it, do it. It really just doesn't get much simpler than that. So if you like to go work on cars, go work on cars. I think these are the things that they're hard to do while we're still worried about who's watching us. That's the big thing, and that's the big hurdle I had to get over in my life was, am I really that concerned about who's looking at me right now? Because the sooner I get rid of that, the sooner I can get people out of my peripheral vision and start to focus straightforward on what I really love to do. And then your nose is to the grind about what you love to do. And the peripheral things that are going on in your life really shouldn't affect you. So the things that we love to do, we should do as though nobody's looking. You know, just pretend nobody's looking and just do them. And that's where the hurdle is. So I think the term lacking motivation is very popular, and we hear it a lot, but I don't think it goes deep enough. I just don't think we're looking at where that came from. I don't know if it's so much lack of motivation as it is something inhibiting us. And if it's the people around you that are inhibiting you, if it's worrying what people think, then that really doesn't have anything to do with your motivation. That has maybe a little bit more to do with caring too much what people think of you. So I signed off pushing pebbles in my sandbox from our song on the public record. I've learned to be a little girl again. I really have, and it's something I've really been striving for in my life, is just finding that childhood spirit and that childhood innocence. And you know what? You can look pretty silly as an adult going out and playing in a playground box. And I'm sure all the people who submitted videos for our song who have taken their guitars out on the playground, and you know, all the crazy running around people are doing and making their videos, I'm sure if there's a lot of people standing around watching, that could be inhibiting. But you know what? If you get to that place where your spirit doesn't care about those things, you can actually have a lot of fun. So I signed off with a quote here at the bottom: the walls we build around us to keep sadness out also keeps out the joy, from Jim Rohn. And that's how I'm going to leave it today. Make sure that if you are constructing these walls around you, you understand that it might be stopping sadness from coming in, but it's stopping your joy from getting out. So probably time to tear down the walls of it. Alright, so thank you so much, my friend, who I'm not saying her name unless she wants to shout it out from mountaintop. Thank you for sending that in. It spurred some great thoughts, and it continues to strengthen my own perspective, so I like these good reminders as well. So I will talk to you guys again tomorrow, and of course, until next time, rock on. Say rock on, whiskey. Rock on.